week we looked at the art of the Fauvists, artists that loved color and used wild and crazy colors to describe different objects. This week we're looking at the artwork of Paul Klee. Paul Klee was an abstract artist that loved to use color to express feelings and emotions. So while you're making your artwork today, I want you to think, what color are you using and what emotion does that express? We are going to create a Paul Klee cityscape. And we're going to use a lot of shapes, lines, and designs to create the drawing for our cityscape. And then we're going to come in with colors that express an emotion or a feeling. So we're going to start by drawing a line near the bottom of our paper. Notice that line for me is about 3 fingers from the bottom. Look at how my fingers go the same direction as the bottom of my paper. I'm not holding my fingers like this. I'm holding my fingers side to side. From that line that we make, we're going to draw a little bit of a castle line. Castle line goes up vertically, straight across horizontally, and back down vertically. I'm going to repeat that, but different sizes. So this one's going to be larger and wider. And instead of going back down here, I'm going to go up and over like a step, and now back down. I'm not going as low as I did the first time. And I'm making my lines dark and thick. This time for my castle line, instead of doing a flat horizontal top, I'm going to add diagonal lines to create a point, kind of like the tip of a pencil. This time I'm going to go down lower. And I'm going to have one line that goes straight across, steps down, goes straight across, and then back up. And this building's going to be really tall, and on top of it, it's going to be a curve. And that curve is going to end right over here on the side of the paper. So there's the first line that describes my buildings. Down here, I want to create a pattern, different lines that stretch across my buildings. I'm going to start my pattern up at the top here. And now I'm done with my bottom buildings. So to repeat how we did that, we started by making a castle line that had different heights and some different diagonal lines and curved lines. And then we filled everything in below that line with pattern. Now it's time for us to make some other buildings. And I'm going to start by using color. So I'm going to have one building start out here. And I'm going to color in that building green. I'm going to continue adding shapes to this block, this cube, this square. Like maybe I'll add a triangle and a second triangle, and I'll color those in. Remember, this is an abstract picture. Maybe over here I'm going to add another rectangle. And on top of that, I'm going to add a kind of M shape. I'm going to color this in with the pink. And I'm going to color this in with the blue-green. I'm going to add a little bit of additional pattern to the top of this with some purple. Make it a little more interesting in my designs. I haven't really been thinking about color so far, but as I look at my picture, I realized I've used a lot of cool colors. Cool colors tend to be calming, quiet colors. So I'm going to continue with that theme of cool colors. Of course, I'll work in some warm, but only for contrast. Here I'd like to do another building, and this building is going to come right out of the middle of that kind of pencil looking building. It's going to come over a little bit, have a curved line on top, come over a little bit more, and then it's going to go straight down, and there's a gap in between these two, and it's going to come all the way down to here. I'm going to have a couple lines on this building to divide it up, and then have each of those be a different color. So let's start out with something that's going to kind of contrast the blue over here and go back to that kind of pink purple. And then this one we'll do in the green. And have a little bit of the blue up here. And I'm going to keep building and creating buildings all the way to fill my backdrop. I'm going to do that now and let the video fast forward while you create your buildings. Okay, so now I've done the color portion. I have my black and white portion down here that's in pattern. I have my buildings that are in the middle ground. So this would be the foreground. Our buildings in the middle ground are in color. I've got one shape up here that I'm going to add some color to. And then I'm going to have my background. Since I chose mostly cool colors here, I'm going to choose something that would contrast those for my background. You can choose the colors that you'd wish or would like to use, but I'm going to have some colors that contrast it, so I'm going to use warm colors. And I have, or am going to choose some warm colors that will radiate out. So let's start with my yellow. I'm pretending like my picture doesn't stop where my paper stops. So this blue really stretches all the way up and down. It really stretches all the way up and back down. This purple doesn't stop when it gets to the building. It really goes behind the buildings and continues all the way over here. And so now I have my cityscape. If I want to add to this, if I don't like it the way it is, I'd like to use a dark color, and I'm just going to color really lightly over what I've already done. And now we have our abstract Paul Klee cityscape. Enjoy.